Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome to another edition of our Peace Talk Show. This is the weekly show that is actually brought to you to discuss on issues pertaining peace and how best actually we can attain to our developmental aspirations. And mbadingolu mbe mube konton na mba fulali ko na telefonang alla lokung kaira kacang kami sotale jang Fatu Network bi fanang murane kana kal kacandi ku kende bala ku mi alon ko ku sulari ngala mati mi alon ko abe banko sambala nyato andum bi ngamo farman sarim balle soto jang min alon ko ni wolle be nyun ku kacala. And today I have some important guests here who actually will be engaged, and one of them will join us soon. And in the meantime, the introduction will start by from the right hand side, and Honorable, you may introduce yourself.
Well, I am Ousman Sillah. Thank you very much, Alassane. I am a National Assembly member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much. Today, actually, you will bear with me that Honorable Ousman Sillah is actually a great figure in the country who is contributing immensely to the development of this country. To have him on this platform is actually a credit and actually a plus for us today. And also, I have a great lady actually who is also contributing to the development of this country, and she will introduce herself. Madam, you may introduce yourself.
Greetings everyone, and my name is Honorable Mary K. Badjie, Global Youth Parliament. I'm the MP for Serekunda West constituency, and I'm saying Ramadan Kareem to everybody who's watching this right now.
Thank you very much. These are the two honorables I have here, and as I said, the other guests will join us soon. Today we have a very important topic to discuss with you, and this is a topic that is affecting everybody in this country, and that is the increase in actually basic commodities. Nkamin kacha bi wala nyindi ko domor fengol wala na sula fengol nka sula min la baketeng ibe kafu kanne andi la firo be kolya kanne marse kono so nyimun kuldi mi algo sula kole mati anum bi nga wo kacha dale natna la jang bi ning honorable Sillah ning honorable Badjie be wala kacha la jang andu ngaji be munatinna nying be kekan andum fanan mba ko nying mba manan ko no la nyameng because nyimun kuldi mi alonko aning fitno e nyosotale. Looking at the topic, peace actually cannot be attained when there is no self-peace, because peace starts from oneself, and if one is to have self-peace, it means you must have your basic needs. So therefore, the increase in prices is a cause of concern, and also this requires national dialogue and discussion to see how best these issues can be settled. Today, Honorable, I will start with you. You can actually give your impression on the topic, and also familiarize and send appreciation to the general viewers.
Thank you very much, Alassane, for inviting me.
Thank you
to this session called the Peace Talk Show, which is aimed at sensitizing the population to be able to embrace peace at all times. And you have also chosen as a topic the issue of the escalating prices of basic commodities, particularly food, and its relation to peace. Yes, it is a fact, everybody is living it, that people are experiencing on a daily basis price hikes with regards to basic food commodities, call them essential commodities, like rice, edible oil or cooking oil, and the stuff. But you will also understand that it's an issue of supply and demand to some extent, but also that most, if not all, of these food commodities are imported. They are not produced locally. And as you know, if they have to incur expenses, they would always pass it on to the consumer. That's the claim they make, and in fact, it's obvious. But should it be at a level, that suffocates the consumer? I don't believe that should be the case.
Okay, thank you, Honorable. We will pick it from there. Should it be actually to suffocate the consumer? And that should not be the case. In the meantime, Honorable, not cutting you short, we will come to the discussion proper and where we will dwell into these things and look at them critically. And Honorable Mary, you can also actually give your impression on the topic. And Honorable, this is a platform where actually we sensitize the masses. So if we want also, we can speak any of the local language, because the objective is for the Gambian people, that is the masses, to hear the message that we are discussing here. So we are free to speak any language that we may feel to speak. If I state the question in English, or I can even state it in the local language you visit, and then you can speak in Wolof or whatever language you want. Yes, Honorable, you can give your impression on the topic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jallo. My impression about the topic is very essential, because it's a very sensitive topic, especially the moment we are in now. We are in Ramadan, and we are in most need of those commodities now than ever, because everyone will not want to starve the whole day, and at the end of the day you don't have anything like that can sustain you, or something valuable to eat, or cannot even have a balanced diet. So I think it's very important that we're talking about this topic now, that we are really in need of all the commodities that have been sold in the market. So it's a very important topic, but also a very sensitive one.
Seriously.
Because most of the time when you go to the market, the vendors will be like, this is how we bought it, so we cannot sell it at a lesser price. But the thing is, like, those commodities, most of them have been there even before Ramadan, even before now. So why are they expensive during Ramadan when they were bought like before Ramadan? So I think it's a very vast topic that we can really digest in a very vast way that everyone will get to understand. And I will also want to use this opportunity to call on all the responsible stakeholders, if they can have a talk show where they can tell the population, like, this is the exact price for this. So anyone who sells it at this price, call this particular number and let the issue be addressed in a professional manner.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable, that is very clear, and I'm very impressed with your introductory remarks. And coming to Honorable, looking at the topic, and as the topic is what sort of threats do the shortage of basic commodities pose to our national peace? As I gave in the preamble, the absence of basic commodities is a threat to our national peace and security. But to start with you are at the parliament. In fact, at the parliament, most of these issues are discussed and debated there. And as a result, you should actually tell the Gambian people you are representing something on this. And as a result, the topic, the question I have for you is that, why are there rise in prices of commodities?
Well, in fact, that's what I started
Seriously, yes.
Explaining, that we are talking about, and by the way, I am Mr. Sillah. You refer me as Mr. Sillah.
Okay.
There are so many factors. You have internal, it's national, local, and also external.
Okay.
And then it also faces, there's a chain.
Okay.
As I said, the food that the commodities we're talking about basically are food, and then they are imported invariably, all of them.
Okay.
Only few are consumed. In fact, that does not impact much on the market. The bulk of the consumption is the food items that are imported into the country. As I said, of course, the state has a role to play, but by the way, they said there is a liberal market, and then it does not go well with price control, so they don't have any price control mechanism in place. So they said that the prices are determined by the demands of the market. So, and then as I said, this food stuff is imported from the outside into the country, and they would claim that where they buy it, They don't go and then give in to it free of charge. They have to buy.
Yeah.
They would claim that there's an issue, there's a challenge there. They would claim also the freight, bringing it into the country. It's a challenge. They would claim that at the ports, the levies that they pay, the taxes that they pay, there are also charges on them, and then transportation charges. But by the way, in fact, one of the most essential commodities that is of most concern is rice.
Exactly, sir.
But in the Gambia, there is no taxation on rice. It's zero tax.
Okay.
In 2017, when this current government came into being, the then Minister of Finance, in fact, I've been understand that there was no consultation with the Minister of Trade. They just introduced this waiver of zero taxation on rice importation. So up to now, there's zero taxation.
Okay.
Of course, they do pay, but these are levies that when they come to ports that cannot be free, and then those are the only charges that they pay. But the taxation, the revenue that government should have been deriving from the importation of rice, government it has been waived by the then government.
Okay.
Then it was Mr. Sane who was there as Minister of Finance.
Okay.
Amadou Sane. So that's still the situation. But as I said, these are commodities that are imported. And then I also understand that the National Assembly Sillah Committee on Trade had been engaging with some of the stakeholders, including government, and some of these players, these importers. And the reality is that there's a cartel in terms of the importation of this foodstuff.
Okay.
There are few who are doing the importation.
Okay.
And I also understand that very few are local. In fact, they have even made the differentiation that you have foreigner, non-Gambians and Gambians.
Okay.
In fact, for me, that's not my terrain. I don't go into that.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is that it is our duty as National Assembly.
Yeah.
It's our duty as this is also the duty of the government. But I know you understand the distinction.
Yeah,
Government is separate from National Assembly.
Exactly, sir.
National Assembly is a state institution. Government is a state institution. So we are separate. But government and National Assembly, both government and National Assembly have responsibilities. And the responsibility is that we must not allow any player to come and import something into this country that is of low quality. In fact, I even understand that the rice that they call 100% broken is not even mentioned in the commodity index at the international market. So that means the quality is even is an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
So we must not allow poor quality to be imported into this country. But if if they are going for quality, they would say that So these are things that
seriously.
So the issue is that you have short-term, medium-term, long-term solutions.
Okay. Honorable, we will come to the solutions.
Yes.
Okay. You actually.
No, and then yes. Okay. I was talking about the challenges.
Okay.
These are the challenges that they claim, beside the importation of these commodities.
Okay.
And as a result, they have to pass it onto the consumer. So what should be done now is for government to really dissect all these phases, interrogate it, and of course National Assembly, interrogate it, check at the world market, the quality products that should be consumed by human beings, normal human beings, fit for consumption. As I said, this 100% broken, I said it's not listed.
Yeah.
So that means that there's an issue with quality.
Yeah, exactly.
But we need quality rice. But if they are coming with this broken rice, that is unaffordable to the consumer. If they are coming with something of more quality, how would that? So government must really intervene. How do they do that? It's just to investigate. You have to engage the importers. The process has started, I understand. Of course, those that are doing those who are responsible for freight, the airline, the shipping lines, companies, their representations here, their representatives here, the ports, all those players, the clearing and forwarding agencies, the transporters, the unions, all these have to be involved. And of course, government as a key player, the Minister of Trade should be at the heart of everything. Of course, not discounting the important role that the Minister of Finance plays. So, but they have to work in tandem to ensure that there is thorough investigation done and a solution found. But of course, the solution is we must be producing what we consume. That's the bottom line.
Exactly. Honorable, we will come to that.
producing
what we consume. We will come to that, and that remark, I want it to be sent clearly. I want it to be sent explicitly. Honorable Badjie, what do you think are your daily experience as women at the moment of unsteady market? Women are the one who actually face a lot of these problems. They will be going to the market, coming and saying that they marse be nehut, be marse mandia, and as a result, you face challenges. So your husbands, or I understand that male will give you a steady, how do you call it, ndawal, and as a result, when you go to the market and you find the market otherwise, when you come to the home to actually provide something for the family, sometimes there could be some issues, but yow lii la joxoon, and as a result, li nga ma toogal tey. So what are some of the challenges women are facing?
Well, Justice, I think I will come in Wolof to that.
Okay, no problem.
The market is very challenging. Marse bi dafa doy waar torop.
Okay.
So ko seetloo tey, like for example, let's say yow 250 lañ la dee jox dépense, or 300, or let's say 500 sax. Nga dem si marché bi, kilo yàppa 250.
Wow.
So waree génnee loolu noonu, there is no way, comme ñun baadoolee lekkatuñ yàppa.
Exactly.
Because yow soo waree am dépense 250, kilo yàppa bi 250 la. Soo paree looy toggee yàppa bi looy jënda, doo mun a am soble, doo mun a am diwlin, doo mun a am dara. Saami jën ida $100 or 200 soo bëggee jën bu baax. So kobo yi ak caalo yi lañ dee saam 50, saam 25 ak yeneen. So da nga gis ne marché bi dafa doy waar ba nga xam ne like jigéen ñi dañ soona torop. Comme dafa mel ni coono bu ñëw rek ñun ñoo ko dee gën a yëg. Ñun ñoo si dee gën a soona. Because da nga gis ne soo demee loo fekk marché soo delluwee si kër bi war koo expliquer, war na wax ne lii nii lañ koo jaayee tey ne ne xay barki déema du nii la jar te naka la moo jaree nii loolu how come. So it's doubtful, it baffles many people. But actually this is what is happening. Loolu moo fa nekka. luñ dee jànkonteel si marché bi dafa doy waa da ngaa dem tey nga jënd dara wala let's say saamu soble nga jënd ko $25 or $20. Ëllëg soo demee ñu ne la $30 la. So su dee yow sa jëkkër dafa am fixed price boo xam ne every day 250 la laa jox wala 200 wala 300 la laa jox dépense. Nga dem fekke noonu marché bi doo dee xam sa looy nduga. Loo mu tax ñu bëri dañ dee dem marché dañ fa dee yaaga dañ dee nekk di wër di seet fu mu gën a yomba duñ ko dee mën a am. Because marché bi yëpp a metti fu nekk moo na xari. Ako liata baake le. So I think nanta jibe la le mbam fan dee mala ñam because ko kwa keta ntol dam mangol le. So nin sa ñoo ma ko ñim price ol ba tala la ñam mim fo mbe sa baluno. Ni wontem foirol ntol ba fala le. Katum price o kata ñam.
It is actually very disturbing, Honorable, coming to you, many people I spoke to are telling me that they are seriously disappointed, with the recent, released by the Ministry of Trade regarding some price controls and, the prices, attached to each and every commodity. People are telling me that American rice in the Kombosia, Greater Banjul area, you can have it $1,250. Others are telling me that cement is actually around 1,000. Some are even telling me cement is $300 or $325 to $330, you can have it. But what we've seen is that, in the phony ends, you can have cement up to $375, close to $400. Some are saying, technically, the government has even increased the price instead of reducing or controlling. And people are seriously frustrated and angry with this. Has there been any consultation, because there is a committee responsible for trade, at the parliament, I even was trying to see how best I can speak to Honorable Mahanera, but since I have you on board here, you are the parliament and you are representing the people of Banjul, and the people of Banjul have this right to even consult you or to approach you and tell you actually what was your say on this when it was discussed at the parliament, or whether it has been brought to the parliament to be discussed there. People are disappointed, to be frank enough.
Thank you very much, but by way of correction also, I am representing the people of the Gambia.
Exactly, okay.
Banjul not selected me to represent the people of the Gambia.
Okay.
So
that's fine, that's fine.
Yes, people have a right to be concerned, because they're the ones who are consuming it, consuming these commodities. As I said, the government has a role to play. Government should come up with a policy. And not only policy, but regulations, not only regulations, but regulations and policies that are implemented. We expect that from a government. But that depends on the government that you have in place. Every government may have its own methods, its own approach in dealing with issues, particular issues of importance, of concern to the population. But as I said, they should not compromise on quality.
Exactly.
And that also supply, because if you're talking about supply and demand, if the supply is not adequate, and then the demand is high. If demand is more than the supply, you experience price hikes. So, but government, as I said, should really come up with mechanisms, with laws, with policies, even incentives to that effect, to ensure that the prices are stabilized, they are affordable, they are at the reach of the common person or the majority of the population. As you know, poverty is rife in this country, and abject poverty even. So, in fact, price stabilization is not only needed during Ramadan, because we're just from the Lent. So it should have been, it's ongoing. It's not only Ramadan, but at all times. People should be able to afford basic food commodities. It should be at all times. Yes, so more so this period when people are fasting, the Lent and Ramadan, and at the end of the day, in the evening, they would want to have something to break their fast.
Yes. Okay, I have this follow-up question that, Honorable, you people are the parliament, as I said, and that state has not been mentioned by. What actually are you doing to ensure that these issues are controlled?
Yes, in fact, I wanted to come to that.
Okay,
that was the question.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Of course, the parliament has a role to play.
Okay.
We have an advisory role to play.
Okay.
We can also urge the other players to do what they're supposed to do. Like, for instance, there's a committee, as you mentioned, there's a committee at the National Assembly, a Sillah committee on trade. And as I also told you, they have been engaging. They have been engaging the importers.
Okay.
They have been engaging other players, even including the ministries of trade and finance, to inquire about the situation. And that is the duty of Parliament. Parliament can invite ministries and ministers, for that matter, and whoever is given a responsibility at the level of the government to come before it and then answer to issues that are of concern to the population. And I think this is something that they have done. I'm not also privy to the official outcomes, but there has been engagement. And but as I said, it can recommend to government as to what it believes should be done in terms of stabilizing the prices to make them affordable. And I think everybody knows that. Everybody accepts that the prices have to be affordable. So that should be the role of the parliament. But as I said, policies are within the province of the executive.
Exactly.
Parliament is not a policy-making institution. We are lawmaking. We approve budgets. We perform oversight. In our oversight capacity, we can convoke them, ask them to come before us, and then task them, either recommend to them or task them to do things. And I guess the process that is being done, that is taking place. But let me just re-emphasize that these are issues that are the responsibilities of a government. They are the ones who should be coming up with policies, and that we all agree that there should be some arrangements in place that would ensure that food is accessible. Because you mentioned cement. In fact, they included cement as part of essential commodities. But what the majority are concerned about is food. Only a few can build cement. It is a matter of concern. They are Gambians, and it should be our concern. But I think the primary concern is the food that is what affects the majority. And you are talking about the differentiation. If the earning capacity is more here than the rural area, but the prices are higher there, so what are you talking about?
Seriously.
So this is something that is mind-boggling. This is something that should be of concern.
We
really need to address. But as I said, well, it all depends on the government that you have in place. But for me, I believe that the solution is for us to be producing what we consume. In fact, there has been slogan raising about that. Previous government have been slogan raising that. We eat what we, but in practical terms, nothing is being done. We really need to do something. It's not just mere slogan-derism, making slogan, but actual practical things. Action. We need action.
Honorable, coming to this, in fact, looking at, you said something here very important. Here, most of the commodities that we consume are imported. We import them from other countries. And then, the world is confronted with a global challenge that is the COVID-19. And you will see to it that, countries that are actually exporting, you can only export when you can sustain your, citizens. You cannot export at the detriment of your country. We have realized that most of the rice we actually import, come from India, Pakistan, and some of these South Asian countries. And as a result, during this moment, those countries have tried to make sure that they actually limit what they will export so that they can sustain their nationals. And also, trafficking, I have seen some, people saying that the cost of trafficking has increased. And also, when you come to the ports, they said the delay in the loading and unloading actually are some of the factors leading to the increase in the prices. Actually, are you aware to that? And
yes, actually, yes. In fact, they are using the COVID as a claim that COVID is responsible for all of these things. But is that the fact? I think this is the thing that the government ought to do.
Seriously.
The government needs to embark on research to find out whether this 1 year disruption that is created by the COVID had any impact in terms of the food that what we consume, the commodities.
Okay.
Is it that are we consuming rice that is grown this year or last year, or is it the rice that we consume has been grown a number of years? So, and then you have warehouses. So that is something that for me I regard as a claim. COVID, in terms of this, I regard as a claim. Perhaps in the next 3, 4, 5 years, one can say that it has impacted. But as of now, I don't think 1 year disruption can just be the impact can be felt now in the second year.
Yeah.
Well, that's something. Well, it's just. I'm just saying that it's a claim, but government should be open, should be objective, and this is what they should really investigate to see whether it is factual. Yes, so as to legitimize, increases. Of course, they talk about freight, that not many vessels were cruising because of the pandemic. Is that also the case? Okay, at the level of the Gambia here, at the ports, government can come. They can have some arrangements. So there can be certain incentives, certain arrangements. Like if any vessel comes that is bringing these basic commodities, it should be given priority in order not for it to attract demurrage by not being coming to dock.
Okay.
So these are things that they can do. Government can arrange with ports so that they will give priority. Warehouses also. But I understand that some of the operators, if they are operating as a cartel, they would have some tactics. Like for instance, I understand that they can go and hire all warehouses. Hire all transports, so that it becomes a challenge for any competitor who is coming to. But these are things that government should really look into and address.
Honorable,
so it has a role to play, and as I said, National Assembly too has a role to play. It's not only government, but the National Assembly too. But the consumers also. Consumers have a role to play, and we are talking about peace. And I think that's the link. The consumers are the population.
Exactly.
Everybody is a consumer. All of us are consumers.
Seriously.
So should this really affect the peace of the country? This is something that we can discuss. I don't know when we reach there, or you want me to?
Yes. We will come to that. We will come to that. Because currently, the women are not actually at peace. The women actually, some of them when they are going when it is morning time to go to the market, some of them, they bleed in their hearts, they cry, understand. And, Honorable actually is here. What do you think are the pains and the cries of the women? Because, this is something that we are not seeing anything going backward, but it is something going forward, and women actually are the one mostly who dance to these tunes, when you go to daily experience of this. Because today you go to the market, they tell you, okay, Bisab, some $5, tomorrow you come, they say $10 is. And, in this country, we are blessed with the Atlantic ozone. I was so disappointed when I heard from some women that telling me that, don't you know, in this country now, fish is expensive than meat. I told them, but how come? They told me, go to the market, you rarely see fish. Bonga, charm of it, you get it like, $100 is or $50 is. The cheapest you get is 25. And that will be 1 or 2. So, Honorable, what actually are the pains and the cries of the woman? And because the cries of the woman is the cry of this nation, and the cry of this nation is actually not peaceful.
That's right, Mr. Jallo. nka mun kumbwa siara bakele ntol musol nka mun kumbwa siara bakele katu ntolle ka taji ntolle ka je mum bije atol kel ka ta nyine na liana ta liya di mo lan tol yeta do moro nyin sanna nga sambana bare nin tol tata marché don ka mun taraja ni ku ya bala fa warta bakele because ni lafta nyesan na nyekendo ni ko e samo 200 le wala 250 comme nga funu nyamin akala faale lungolu yene mira ko Gambia nga baso tele almost Gambia mume mu balti fodula kilinda mane keta kenoti so yena ta marché to ita nyekendo fon soto nola price o mu yalon ko fankamal ning fuarol sa do mono ako bala fa warta bakele so ngamira ko man sakuna nyanta musol ma ko lale nyanta njibe lale ye bala fa mol ya jibe ba solution o mun natila pour kam ma koy because so set lo ku nek like buga nga togal sa njabot lu bax ñu leka buga nga sa kër so toge be pere nga tajal len lo xamne dinañ ci mëna am a complete balanced diet way so waré jënda sami jën bu correct 250 yow lan ngay déssé pour jënda yi sew doulin ñëwagut poti doulin $17 la nga waré jënda lolu nonu pour ñëw toga ba façon toga nga ñëw toga do dé mëna am so dañ dé manage ba duñ dé xam lan lañuy manage ati so fogg na ño xamni ño responsible ci trade bi ak mbiri jënda ak jaay bi war nañu ñoo gëna ci waxtaan ak askan bi wax leen ne ñun price bi lañ wax ne lañuy jaayé sukar lañuy jaayé malo lañuy jaayé sangam ko leen gis mu jaay ko ni bu leen ko jënda wala ngeen call nom bi sangam ngeen report case bobu nonu waye comme nga yow ño xamni ño la wara doole ño la wara jappalé suñ la gestu wut daf dé méti torop so da nga gis ne ñun jigéen ni ñu ngey joy té xamuñ fu ño joyto suñ nahar bi xamuñ fu ñuy féto fu ñuy wéru sa lañ xamul because sona nañ marché bi dafa méti dafa nahari dafa nahari torop so mba mo be dani la momo ya lonko isamul ma ko no price control la asake no ministry of trade long munul kata sandirole kana nyimbana bono libe mbe sambulo ka funyo ngaji mba nyu ma ko nyam katun dol dam mangol le nin konko ye mo fa
not to cut you sir was it yesterday or day before yesterday the ministry of trade has actually published that price control mechanism list of goods, and then as the honorable just said, that was so disappointing from the view of many Gambians. In fact, what we are seeing is that the goods are cheaper in this area and expensive at the provinces where we are saying life is difficult. And also, we understand that they will say the transport cost or whatsoever. But how actually did women actually receive this? Because to many, it was more or less an increase instead of a reduction. Modol bije wali ajela komi kafurolem instead of talaro. Ninga fo mole but ali ajela no kafu ngela nko mani ntamo jibe for more time also because it's like these people kabri kanyim bonde and nikuya wartale. I saw one of my friends, is a honorable, he posted it, he said, people, can we look at this? You understand? I told him, but what is this? He told me, look at this, what is actually at the market and what we are seeing here is quite different. We are expecting the government or the ministry to come and reduce the prices or control, but unfortunately we are seeing, an increment on them. So, actually, how do you people receive that? I don't know whether you have seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that actually. And it's very disappointing because we're expecting it to be less, at least even if it's not for the entire term, at least for the fact that this is the month where we need all those commodities most. At least they could have seen a way to compromise to make it easier for all of us. But instead, it became harder. Because if you look at the prices and the prices that were at the market and the ones that were published, there's a vast difference, and it's so disappointing. We were not expecting that from the Ministry of Trade, but since it has happened, I think they can look back on the orders that their hands cannot reach their back. Because let's say your husband is struggling, he has a petty job where he's earning. So you don't expect to get lumo and every day for those who are surviving from hand to mouth. Koko wara jox jabaram dépense 200 dem ci marché bi lan la mo nduga lan la koko di taajal family
it is too sad. It's too sad.
Government bi fogg na dañu wara
honorable
yermande ñu yoka ci
serious honorable, coming to you, looking at the earning of an average Gambian is actually between 5,000 to 7,000. And last time I was speaking to somebody, she told me, look, kunung ntening keme warawulal tara marché $700 is to go and buy foodstuffs. Told me that was a 2 days nduga. But disappointingly, I only spent it on 1 day. You understand? And in fact, I did not go home with any change. You realize that the earning of an ordinary Gambian is not actually increasing. but prices are increasing, and others will say they are increasing on an exponential scale. And this is a serious threat to our national peace and security, because you'll understand that the husband who is giving, if he or she is confronted by the wife or the woman that what you are giving me is not enough, he or she can also use any mechanism now to bring more or enough to the house or to give enough to the woman. Do we know what he or she is going to do? The husband is actually going to do. And as a result, even women also, this is a threat to our national peace and security. And actually, how does this actually, in fact, depreciate our peace?
Well, thank you very much. In fact, I would want to say that you are very generous, very optimistic to peg the average salary at 5,000. I believe that is on the high side.
Okay.
People are living less than that. The average salary is less than that in this country. And as you said, a bag of rice costs nothing, a good quality one, nothing less than 1,006, 1,007.
Seriously.
And if you have a salary of 3,000, in fact, and so many people are receiving less than 3,000.
That's too sad.
What you're talking about having more than half of your salary just on rice. And what about the other things, condiments, fish, meat. And as you know, fish is scarce. If you are renting, rent, transport, to be going to work or to be going about your business, the fish money to the market. So you just imagine how people are really resilient.
Seriously.
The Gambians are really resilient in terms of survival. But that's the situation. As I said, the state has a role to play, the government and all state institutions, they have a role to play. But it also boils down to policy of the government. And it depends on what the government has in place. But here we are with this situation. But what is its relations to peace?
Exactly.
Let me also just briefly in Wolof. I think you can help me. Li nga wax mooy ne mbir mi xaw naa jafe na xamul sax dafa jafe trop nit ñi ni ñoo dundee. te soo xoolee nit ñi seen am-am ñiy liggéey bariwuñ te ñiy liggéey li ñoo am seen payoor yi bariwul. te dunda bi li nga nit soxla pour dunda si bés bi. lu xaw a takku la. mu mel ni ñu ëpp si ni dunda. su fekkee ne seen salaire rek la ñoo am seen payoor. dañoo fay ko weer bu dee rek. loolu du leen mën a yóbbu ba weer bi jeex. soo foog ñu am si ñoo dugga. te am ñoo def. mu ngay digga taaf taaf. ñun bi ñoo nekk ndaw lu lañ ko ooyee taaf taaf. fi nekk am nañu ko xale di ooyee sax de.
rabaraba
waaw rabaraba foog ñu rabaraba. so rabaraba moom ñëpp rabaraba la. du ñuy rabaraba la. da ngay xëy suba dem lijjante ji dépasse. au guddi balaa nga tëdd dem lijjante ji dépasse. te waxtu woon a demee noonu. waaye façon réew moom la ñoo dunda. moo jafe-jafe yi la nit ñi dunda. te gën naa métti nag si jigéen ñi ni mu ko waxee rek jigéen ñi la gën a métti ndaxte góor gi yow da ngaa ñëw rek jël sa xaalis sa jox ko. moom su mu tut duy mut sax moom moo am pour doole. di nga gis ne su amul càmmiñ bu ko dimbale. amul jigéen bu ko dimbale. amul yaay papa jafe-jafe dafa gën a métti. di nga gis ne dafa gën a liggéey ñoo tax nga gis ñu dee jaay si mbedd yi di jaayantu di wër di jaay lu ne la ñoo def. pour mun a am lu ñoo motalee. dépasse si kër gi. te xam nga amee kër rek du dépasse rek. am na yeneen soxla da ngay feebar. am na xale yaa ngay feebar yéen a ngay feebar.
exactly.
yéen a ngi tukki affaire yi njàng beeg yooyu noonu. mu mel ni daal nit ñi ñoo dunda bu métti la ñoo dunda. waaye kon ni ma ko waxee rek nit ñi jàmbaar leen si ni ñoo dundee. waaye nag du lu war a wéy. nekkul lu war a wéy soo déggee ma ne mooy résilience ma doon wax. ne nit ñi jàmbaar leen ni ñoo dundee ak lu métti nii yëpp. nit ñaa ngi dunda. jéguñ fi coow dégguñ fi dara. waaw ndax dundan bu métti dafa war a mën a si coow. man ma ne déedéet. it should not have any depreciation on the situation of peace and security. As they talk about peace and security. For me, what I believe in is that every Gambian should be made to know that you are sovereign. You have a say in this country. You have a voice in this country. And you have to exercise that voice, and that is your power. This is what we should teach Gambians. I'm not saying that they should not be protesting. Yes, in fact, the law should be made such that anybody who has anything to talk about, you want those that are responsible to addressing them to hear. You have done all the necessary things, petition, writing letters, petition, making representations, going there, but to no avail. You can go and then involve the public. Go and then have your placard, your banner, and then express your position, and then in a peaceful manner. This should be the norm. People should be free to be exercising this right. But to be going out, to be affecting peace, no, I don't think a sovereign person, if you have a solution to a problem, you have a solution to a problem, it's better to apply the solution rather than to be hopeless. So, in fact, lack of peace is hopelessness. And I don't believe that people are hopeless. They have the power. It's the voters' card. Let them enfranchise. Go and get the vote when there's registration. Let everybody go and get the vote. When it comes to voting, you vote those that you believe can deliver. And then it should not even stop there. We have to have laws that even if you fail to deliver, people can recall you. They can go and recall you. Like Ousman Sillah is elected as the representative of Banjul North to serve for 5 years. In fact, we have it in our constitution, existing constitution. There's a provision there. Of course, what's making it difficult is that it also tasked the National Assembly to come and explain the procedure as to how to do it. In conjunction with the IEC that we are recalling Ousman Sillah because he fails to deliver before the end, even before the end of the 5-year term. Any time in between.
Right of recall.
So these are the things that we should have in place so that you don't resort to violence. Violence never solves anything. In fact, it creates more problems. So this is what I'm urging Gambians. Do not resort to violence. Do not ever resort to violence. You have the solution to your problems, and it's your voice, it's your voters' card. I am emphasizing this. And we are in a critical period. We are in a year that is going to determine the fate of the country in the next 5 years.
Exactly.
After this year. So it's your vote that counts. Vote wisely. Vote wisely. Vote, and the vote should not be sold. It is what is going to determine your livelihood. We are talking about these challenges. And those who are supposed to address it are those that are coming to ask you for your power, your voice, to ask you for mandate, your mandate, to give you the mandate to serve. So this is what I'm linking it to. So I am saying that, of course, it has the tendency, proclivity, that is difficulties to unsettling situations like a situation where there is no peace, that is violence. But do not allow the temptation. You have the right, you have the power, you have the opportunity to change your environment, to change your life, to make your life, easy by voting for those that would really serve your interests. So this is my take on that.
Yes, Honorable, you are right. In fact, one of the theories of peace and conflict is that it is said that human need theory. When the basic human needs are not satisfied, people can resort to anything that is unpleasant to actually attain their, demands. Or you understand. So in fact, not trying to actually, but when you look at Sudan, in fact, what led to the removal of Bashir, it was because of the increase of bread. When you look at Zimbabwe, it was bread and fuel. You understand? And that is why, in fact, this is actually a very serious issue. When it came, I told myself, because when people are hungry, as the saying goes, hungry man is an angry man.
Yes, I agree. Thank you very much. I agree with you. But the situation with Sudan and Zimbabwe was that, and still now, it is difficult for people to remove those governments. If it is difficult for people to remove the government, that is when they should resort to violence. Not even resort to violence, they should resort to means enforcing that status quo to change.
Seriously.
But in a situation like the Gambia, it is not difficult to remove a government that is not serving your interests.
Exactly.
It is not difficult. This is what I'm just imploring the Gambia. I'm sending this message. Because I'm in a position of responsibility, I'm sending this message to each and every Gambian. That you should not allow yourself to succumb to the temptation of resorting to violence.
Exactly.
You can resolve your problems. You have the power. It is in your hands. The solution is in your hands. I'm telling you, the young people, the elderly, the middle age, every person in this Gambia who is of voting age, the solution is in your hands. Let us not resort to, because it's not difficult, as I said.
Exactly.
We have had this for the past 22 years. It was very difficult. But eventually,
it was settled.
It is amicable. And now Gambians must have that conviction. That if you have a government that you feel is not serving your interest, then you can just go and do something. I'm not engaged in partisan politics. This is the reality. This is the fact.
Exactly. Honorable.
Honorable. Okay. jafe-jafe lu nekk la day jur nit su xiifee comme ni ko Alassane waxee nit su xiifee rek daf dee taagaalo sago mun naa def lu xam ne daf koo lor nit su soxlee mun ta soxla toppatoo soxlaam mu soxla dara munu koo faj daf dee mer te ni ko mer lu nekk la mën a def waaye li ma wax mooy jàmm jàmm njëriñ ñëpp la ta li nit sax ñu ne sax nit li mun a def ne yaa ngi bugg a dara waaye mënuloo ko def nga te def loo xam ne dafa mooy violence comme moom joxe na exemple lu mel ne Soudan El Bashir bi mu fa nekka dafa jafe woon pour génne nit ñi génne ko Mugabe bi dafa jafe woon te ba tey moo nekk si dëkk yooyu noonu amuñ élection yoo xam ne nit ñi dañoo dem tànn ki leen neex duñ am benn gàllankoor dañ toog mooy léegi nga caat yéen a ngi jege caat bu yàggul ngay nguur yoo xam ne dañoo toog juróom-benn li yoon lañ ko tànn tey noonu 6 lifin tam lañ ko tànn tey ñu confirme ko tey ëllëg mu dem ñu ne si ëllëg si la dee ba ëllëg si noonu doomam toog xam nga façon yooyu noonu yooyu mooy yàpp nit ñi dëgg loolu nag ñun Gambia ñun jeex na fi 2016 la loolu jeex Gambia ku fi toog dëju ligal loolu nit ñi doo mun a génn fi mu nekk li ma wax nit ñi mooy bu leen dara jaral loolu ut leen seen voters card moom mooy problème bi moom mooy solution bi soo voters card mooy solution soo leen seen nguur goo xam ne ligalu leen mu ngeen koo génnee su fekkee mu ngeen liggéey nag ngeen continuer ko fa loolu mooy affaire yi ne daal bu ñu jafe-jafe yi nangu ba jafe-jafe ji def ñu ba nga xam ne dañoo yaxa jàmm bi nga xam ne te du jàmm sax bala ma li ñu nekk sax du jàmm de coono poverty it's not peace
exactly
nit ñi nekkuñ si jàmm de
exactly
dund nga ñoo dunda dund ko métti la du jàmm poverty is not peace it's not peace is not the absence of gunfire
exactly
no it's not the absence of gunfire and then power belongs to the people there is no force that is more powerful than the people not the president not the National Assembly member not the minister not the security force it's the people who are more powerful and they can exercise that power peacefully through the vote
exactly honorable akamin foja wala nyinti ko sembobe molle bulu andum fana fitno na keta mo actually buka winje wala mo buka fo nyine gagneta mo fitno na keta mo be ka ke lose la ngamin tandala wala nyindi ko konko aka fitno sabole nga bankol dol fire but ni na jibe o bankol bi ibe min kan yamin ke wala nyindi ke mansal nyin bondi je but ataka min tani wala nyindi ko Gambia jang wo mamfuta wo tendal to mi alon ko abe kolyala pour kam kan na mansal fali because sembobe molle bulu and wo sembobe bulu nyaadle ila voters card ipo wala tala yeta ni be carte fay ya fay because e ka carte fay mi e nyantalo nako wole kango soto ite because ade honorable mimbe sirinjang Banjul not ngoli kango soto ate kanne bi ya tombon jikole kama ya sindije so nate actually among deliver to expectation amake komi anyanda kala nyameng it means Banjul ngol next election inyanda jibelal and then even not from any other parliamentarian from the presidency and all those elective offices nimbe carte fayla nga di mola miya lonko wole ben na banko sambala nyato mola kumbol mola nyajiol wole ba am awosila because ni molbe kumbola molbe kamfaring wok buka kairo nat na banko kan andu ni fitno nat na banko kan fitno mandin kol coming for aboka doko wulu aka koto da male wulu and honorable I will be coming to you now as honorable said, and in fact, what do you think actually are some of the mechanisms should be used to actually control the market? Although the honorable said that, they say it's a liberal market where, price, it's a capitalist system of government, you understand, where, those actually, are bringing, in fact, there is no price control. So what do you think is your suggestion and what can be done, as a best alternation? Not only, for the Ramadan, because, but this is something that has to be, a continuous thing because our life depends on the basic commodities, you understand? And the absence of these basic commodities pose a threat to our peace and security. And what actually do you think actually is a solution to this?
Ndiye mumira ko wolen solution oti wolen nyindi ko ntol musolu ntol leke gena bata mo beti aketa domor wato aketa tabirdula aketa suol kono aketa dokudula dawoda musol ntol leka gena bata so ndi amara mu musolu sonoti wala nyindi ntol musol le fana musolu sonoti comme honorable ya fanyaming ntolla carte da manne nakangoti nunga ngoko ngosoto sinya kilinda manne la sanjilulu kono so ni ntol yaaje ko mbabaluka nyama mandi ya mon tol be yalo ne mbatora ka nyame mbabaluka nyama ala da manne be mol mutakamba ni wonte no gonko e dol fa meta so ntolla carte mu yalo ko ngole da man soto ka di mola mu yalo ko ngole mira ko lafta mun na wole ba dina la mola mo kana na e nene wala ay samfen na fanfonga na fo nga na carte o dia mario la nim pareta nga na si nga nimisa ko tenge nga tora fo sanjilulu ko tenge mun kana sonti amran dol musolu ndol lesembo warata ndol fondinke ndol lesembo warata nyanta finti lale nga jibe mba carte fayla muye momu ya lonko nga jele ko na mari sita aben dankun na la bala fa soto la molele ko insara fay price wala fa ba talala le mbesa baluno fuaro lim fanka mal besa kunnoji nga na carte di wala bare ni nga jibe ko karina tala ko ay abe nyina dina la pour nga nyimfe mfana na hay wen ko mbasula re ngala le mbatu nga di la fo mune woti carte kense ngole man no di la man ke carte kense ngoti o carte o le be la baluo mutela fo sanji lulu so sanju lulo ko ne ni te la carte di tilikili ne pare wala ko do fanga sake no tilikili ngabe bannal yena yi tara man toro ko no fo sanju lulo be ba asikere tata so wife no la fa katu ngamme katanya men kol kala fanya men na man control adiamo be siala so pour ka kairo sabatindi nkana ta ke lola nkana nyoso nkana nyone ngam fitno si nsa batu no le ni dizemba sita lafta mun nan lata mun na ngalon ko nyi bala fasu do Gambia dingol e nyi Gambia dingol kala mutale ngana carte o di wala ndi amra wala solution do bare ke lo ning nyo newo ning wo manki solution odi.
Thank you very much, Honorable. And in fact, as the Mandingas will say, kafole Gambianul kewiyata was stage the same pour moyena yen nene wala yen nyaku. This is something is very important. And coming for mole jang andumbe sirin jang coming for mole wala nyintiko. Carte fayo damma mun sababol de pour ka Cairo soto banko kan because ne carte faya di mola mi alongo aya londo soto aya fere soto aya kewya soto pour ka banko samba ni banko bita kan simfanya la mi alongo simfanya kendolo kumolla kumboda kuol mansaba natla nanje wala mimbe banko samba kan aba fenanga wallahi fitnoti na banko kan andum konkot na banko kan. So, nimu kuldi mi alonko both the government sitting and even those that actually are aspiring to come in alonko ebelafrin kana enyantala na komiko nyinam Gambian la problem o ngala ne yala ne because ni political party yolo eka alo minka wala nyintiko molla kumboda kuol wala wosida kuol ikalo wala kan. And as a result, they know that very well. But Gambian all andung nyin la jang the politician all sot la janne ebina janne ni be katal sot la Gambian all sembo battle level comme honorable ya fanyaming power belongs to the people nyanta katalale nga fundi nga voters card soto ni nga voters card soto nga carte muta nga fay ngana fay card nyim mum badi ngoldi nga carte fay nga di mola mial aya sembo soto aya londo soto aning aya kewya soto pour na banko sita nyato and na banko nse lo nsimfula mofla singol la isaje komiko ndolde tarlaka kumbo wala wati nyajo ka bona nyato. Honorable, I don't know whether your Mandinka is good.
Well, it's good, but I understand very well. But I just don't want to be speaking long because the people will be laughing at.
Okay. Myself, my Wolof is like that as well.
Okay,
my Wolof is not good. And Honorable, as you were saying, what do you think can be a short-term plan and a long-term plan to these ordeals of the Gambians? With the issue of increase in price, we are seeing this. The increase in price in 2017 is different from 2018. 2018, it's like it's increasing, and this is going, the earning of an ordinary Gambian is stagnant, it's steady. What is actually, what do you think is a short-term plan, medium plan, and long-term plan?
Yes, thank you very much, Alasan. For the short-term plan, as I said, the government has a role to play. Government has a role to play. It is not a helpless situation as far as government is concerned. But as I said, they need to do research to confirm the veracity of the claims that some of these operators, are advancing as a result of justifying the situation, the current situation in terms of the price hikes, and then see where government can come in to alleviate the suffering or the challenge, address the challenges that beset this sector. That is one thing. For the short term, but government definitely is not helpless. Government can make things happen. National Assembly, as I said, is also not helpless. It also wields power. It can advise government, it can make recommendations to government to implement. But as I said, it is government that implements. So it has to be in tandem.
Okay.
You cannot be operating in isolation.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then, but I want one appeal. In fact, you're talking about medium term, long term. As I said, I have been saying it. In fact, at the initial, my initial intervention, that it depends on the government that we have in place. But the fact of the matter is that we must be producing. We should be producing what we consume in order to get quality products that we need for our survival, for our livelihood. And the other thing I want to make an appeal to is that we must avoid them and us. Them and us at the level of the youth, at the level of women, and at the level of society. We must ensure that we are each our brothers' keepers, our sisters' keepers, our mothers' keepers, our neighbors' keepers, our compatriots' keepers. When you talk about young people, is it young people against the others, against the rest? Do we have to gang up as young people against the rest? I don't think that's the way to go. But the way to go is, how do we ensure that everybody else recognizes the role, the important role that the young people play in a country? Because they are the force, they are the human resource. How do we help them develop the capacity that they need, the requisite capacity, in order to support the present and into the future? Because the present is going to be bequeathed to them. But you have to give them the capacity. So how do we ensure that everybody else, the women, the elderly, the state, all the actors, all the stakeholders, to recognize that and then support the young people to develop that capacity so that they can carry on the role that is expected of them. As for women also, should we have women together against the others because everybody else is against women and then we let's gang up against the others? That's not the way to go. But the way to go is that women must recognize that they must ensure that everybody else recognizes the important role that women play in society as the bedrock of society, so that they will come and offer solidarity to women, the young people and the others, to come together with young people, women, help develop the women, develop their capacity to enhance them, lessen the burden that is on them. As I said, they suffer the most. Women, they suffer the most in society. Young people also, but how do we, each of these population groups recognize the importance of the other, so that we work in concert as humanity, as Gambians, to ensure that our aspirations, our common aspirations are addressed in that common approach. So this is my advice, because I think it's important. Now I want to be utilizing the forum, any forum that I'm invited to.
In fact, Honorable, I was coming to that, you sent a special message, to all Gambians. No, it's okay.
But still,
it's okay, the issue is that, send a special message to the Gambians, and this is our country, and we have to love and like our country in order for this country to go forward. And it has to be an all-inclusive issue. It cannot be a partisan or a polarization sort of. It has to be all-inclusive, it has to be collective, and then it has to actually, be in a form of supporting each other. So, see, what is your, you can give your comments on that. Yeah, in Wolof, yeah.
Moy rek ne rew mi ñu ñoko bokka. Rew mi su ci jafé-jafé yi nekk ci rew mi ci ñëpp la laal. Ndaw yi, mag ñi, borom kër yi, jigéen ñi, ñëpp a jafé-jafé. Dëggal am na ñu gëna métile. Jigéen ñi ñoom ngeen seen bir ni mel. Ñu gëna métile. Waaye nag naka lay war a mën a def ba saafaral jafe-jafe yi ndax dañoo toog ne ñun ndaw ñi dañ war a ñu nekk benn mag ñi ñu beddi leen fële leen jigéen ñu beddi leen ñun ñoo war a def ñëpp ñu nekk suñu boppa ma ne déedéet loolu noonu du yoon noonu tamit naka noonu jigéen ñi ne ñun jigéen ñi nañ ñëw together léegi-léeg ngeen koy kindi sax ñu ñëw ne jiital leen ñun góor ndaw yi ñu ñoo mën a safara seen jafe-jafe yi jiital leen ñu jigéen ñi ñoo mën a safara seen jafe-jafe yi ne affaire yi partnership la fokk ñu booloo ñu ñëpp a war a yëgante. Ndaw yi dañ soxla jigéen ñi dañ soxla mag ñi dañ soxla ndaw yi dañ soxla jigéen ñi dañ soxla ndaw yi dañ soxla mag yi ñun ñëpp nag comme que ñun ñoo bokkam réew mi ñun ñoo bokka njaboot gi dañu war a jàppalante ku nekk ñu xam fi nga sooxee xam sa jafe-jafe ñu seet naka lañ ko safarale ñun ñëpp ñoo together te su ñëwee noonu together keneen koo xam ne dafa am lu ñu war a defal lu mel ni nguur dañ ko mën a forcer mu defaral ñu ko ñun ñëpp benn baat la ñoo am ndaw ñi jigéen ñi mag ñi nañ am benn baat bu ñoo xam ne nañ ko wax ñi nga xam ne ñoom lañ jiital pour ñu liggéeyal ñu ne li nga ñu war defal seen leen ko defalul ñun tam ñu def leen li nga xam ne moom ngeen bëggul mooy génneel taaj leen fële si ñeneen
thank you very much
wax daal nit ñi
thank you very much and that is very clear and it has been well sent. Honorable, just time is up, final remarks, and a message to the Gambians, the technician is actually
okay. My message to the Gambians is let us not allow anything to result to violence, because violence is never the solution. So I'll advise all Gambians to take heart. We know the times, like the moment we are living is very hard. It's very challenging. But let's be patient. December 4th is around the corner. That's the day we will make the decision. That's the day we will show them that they can sit in their offices and add or reduce the prices, but yet they forget that we are the ones that put them there. So come December 4th, we show them that we are the power, we are the ones controlling, and we are the ones putting them where they are. So they should serve us, not us serving them or dancing to their tunes. Exactly. So Gambians, let's not allow anything to result to violence or cause us to fight one another. Let's think Gambia first. Let's put Gambia first. Let's be Gambianized.
Okay. Honorable, you have a say.
The last point is that let them not allow anybody to use them against the other.
Okay.
They along ethnic lines, along religious lines, along demographic lines. Youth, as I was saying, we are one. You have the brain. You have the power.
Yeah.
Reason. Yena mom sen bop sen xel yi am ngeen doole. Bu len naw ken ku len jaxase.
Exactly.
Affaire xeet. Affaire diine. Affaire góor, affaire jigéen, affaire réew mi la. Ya ngeen bokk ci réew mi. Réew mi daf leen war a jëriñ. Da ngeen bokk ci réew mi daf leen war a jëriñ. Ku nekk doomi réew mi daf la war a jëriñ. Loolu ngeen war a xeex ñun ñëpp.
Thank you very much, and we all heard what the honorables actually said. The message is clear, it is eloquent, and it is explicit. Mbadingol mbel nga kumol moy kuma ken de bal min yalla ko na luntangol ya wala soto jambi ka tande gambianol la komi nga tandal la komi nyamen bi nata jang kacada mu minti wala nyinti ko na domorol nga minu wala na sula fengol min ka sule la teng ila price will be kafukane marseto and way mu soto le soto woni mo la kairo e mun soto. So bi nga wala kacajang, and we are saying thank you to our guests. Thank you to the the technician team. Thank you to the Fatu Network. And we are saying thank you to all those that actually are watching us. What we are telling you is that the Peace Talk Show is here to stay. The Peace Talk Show is here to discuss on anything that is a threat to our national peace and security. Everybody has a responsibility to ensure the peace and stability of this country is maintained. Therefore, we thank you all, and when you watch, please make sure you adhere to the doctrines of peace. Do not be motivated by violence or temptations. We thank you and see you next week.